Some of you may know that I emphasize in my sharings on sutta renderings. That means I'm not teaching you, I'm not your teacher. The Buddha is our teacher. I'm only one of the facilitator or commentator to give some highlight to you some aspects from the lectures. The word sutta, S-U-T-T-A, just means discourse. Traditionally, they use the translation discourse. But modern day, I will call it a teaching or just a lecture, a talk. And the word Digha Janu is made up of two. Digha means long. Janu, in a way, is long knee. So this gentleman must be a very tall fellow with very long legs. Okay. So typically, the suttas start off with a preamble or introduction as to where he was and who came up to him to ask questions and so on. So in this particular case, the upper green box, at one time the Buddha was staying in the land of the Kolayans, where they have a town named Kakarapata. Now, you must understand that before this person who became the Buddha, he was born as Prince Siddhartha. His mother, Queen Mahamaya, was from Kolaya. Typical in ancient days, in India, probably in China, and definitely in Europe, different countries, they fight each other to expand their borders and stuff like that. And they try to make peace by getting their children to marry into the other country. Okay, so Prince Siddhartha, who later became the Buddha, the mother was from the Kolaya, and of course his father was from the neighboring country called Sakya. Okay, so shall we say he went to his mother's hometown, home country. Okay, continuing, then Digha Janu, the Kolayan, went up to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side and said to the Buddha. And for those of you who read the suttas regularly, you will come across this standard, should we say, etiquette or manners. Anybody, whether it's a lay person or a monk, whether it's a Buddhist monk or a non-Buddhist, they want to come up and talk to the Buddha. In fact, talk to any wise man in India in those days. They will come forward, they will bow, and usually they will introduce themselves. Oh, I am so and so from this family, and that's all, pleasantries. And then they will sit down on one side. They don't stand in front and sit down in front and block other people. They sit down, pay respect, and sit to one side. Then the conversation starts. So in this case, this lay person, this is not a monk, Digha Janu was just an ordinary lay person, and he says at the bottom box, "Sir, we are lay people." Notice I put bold there. So this applies to us. We are not monks, so we are lay people. So if the Buddha was in front of us, we probably ask similar questions also. So, "Sir, we are lay people who enjoy sensual pleasures and living at home with our children. We use sandalwood imported from Kasi. We wear garlands, perfumes, makeup, and accept gold and money." And Digha Janu continued, "May the Buddha please teach us the Dhamma in a way that leads to our welfare and happiness in this life and in future lives." Now, this is important. Now, the word Dhamma, most of you come to know as means the teaching of the Buddha, which is not wrong, but on the more precise level, Dhamma means teaching. So it could be anybody's teaching. So if it's a teaching by, say, another contemporary teacher, another famous teacher during the Buddha's time, say Niganta Nataputta, then Niganta Nataputta will refer to his teaching as Dhamma also. So be very careful when anybody talks to you and say, "Oh, we should learn Dhamma." Your next question should be, who is the teacher? Okay. So teacher A will have Dhamma, teacher B will have Dhamma. A and B could be at A to Z, very different from each other. But they're still Dhamma, because Dhamma just means teaching of that teacher. It doesn't mean the Buddha's teaching. So, but you want to be very specific as to the teachings of the Buddha, then you say Buddha Dhamma. Okay, that is something you have to bear in mind. Because Dhamma is just a word, an Indian word. So in this case, the question from Digha Janu was asking the Buddha to teach what they call Dhamma in a way that leads to our welfare. That means a layperson's welfare and happiness in this life and in future lives. Now, this morning's sharing, I will not talk so much about as the Buddha's recommendation in this life and in future lives. But in future lives, I will highlight one particular aspect, as given earlier in the title, the aspect of sila, morality or virtues. But since we are talking about here, the welfare and happiness here and now, that means in our lives now, the Buddha went on to give a list. Of course, the Buddha explains, but I will not go into. So, Vyagapaja, which is his person name, these 4 things lead to the welfare and happiness of a gentleman in this life. And what for? Now, accomplishment in initiative. In a way, he's talking about being hardworking, be energetic in doing things, earning a living, learning a skill, and so on. Accomplishment in protection and vigilance. Protection means whatever you have earned, you have brought home from your business or agriculture, your efforts to earn money. Modern day it's called earn money. In those days it could be agronomy, means you're planting paddy, vegetables and all this kind of thing. You must protect what you have. Use your sweat, your ingenuity, your know-how to earn, to protect it. Otherwise it's lost, gone away. All your effort gone, all your planted rice. In modern day context, you lose your money. Whatever you have earned, then suddenly the scammers or whatever, somebody took away. So you must do necessary steps to protect your money and your whatever you have earned. Accomplishment in good friendship. Good friendship is friends that, have your welfare at heart. And hopefully you are also a good friend to another person. So you also take care of other people. May not be relatives, but people you are associated with. Accomplishment in balanced finances. Well, modern day, many accountants, I'm sure, in this hall, we should know, whatever you earn, you shouldn't overspend. So you earn 1,000 ringgit, you should not spend 2,000 ringgit. That's common sense. So the Buddha was talking about that. So you should also earn enough, so the end, from your whatever money comes in, a certain portion must be put into savings, put into reinvestment into your business, and another balance to feed yourself and your family and so on. This is very commonsensical. And the Buddha goes in depth in those aspects of the sutta. But I will not go into that particular aspect today. Now here we talk about the aspect of hereafter. It means after we have passed away. And the picture on the right indeed shows what they call the process in which we are born, we grow up. Those who are lucky to grow up. Because in life, everything is not so fortunate for everyone. Some beings don't get a chance to be born. In modern day, we call it miscarriage, or forced abortions and this kind of thing, whether naturally or something accident happened. So they don't get born, they die before they even born. Even as a child, why we have the 1 month celebration after birth? Because there is such thing called SIDS, sudden infant death. Within the first month, we try to see whether the newborn can survive or not in the new environment. So parents have a lot of responsibility to try to make sure. But even if the child lives through the what they call first month so-called celebrations, what they call Cantonese Mun Yi, okay, the celebrations. But as they grow on, before even reaching kindergarten age, whatever age you want to define that is, the child can also pass away from disease, from accidents, and all kinds of things. And as you grow up right through into adulthood, 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, anyone can just drop dead for whatever reasons. So right through, those who are fortunate are able to live and survive right through old age. That is called fortunate. Those who die sooner is called unfortunate death. So these are aspects in life which we have seen within our own families, our friends, and so on. Now, Dhammapada verse 235. The Dhammapada is a collection of sayings with accompanying stories to elaborate, to illustrate the aspect, and found in the Khuddaka Nikaya in the Tipitaka. So, like a withered leaf are you now. That means talking of people who are maybe old. Death's messengers await you. You stand on the eve of your departure. yet you have made no provision for your journey. In a way, reflecting what Dikajanu was asking. In the next life, I'm about to pass away. Have you made preparations for the next step, which will happen? We cannot deny that. We can see it all around us. And then the Buddha says in Dhammapada verse 2, 3, 6, make an island for yourself, strive hard and become wise. Rid of impurities, cleanse of stain, you shall enter the celestial abode of the noble ones. Now the sutta continues. Now these 4 things lead to the welfare and happiness of a gentleman in future lives. What for? Accomplishment in confidence or faith. The Pali word is saddha. Accomplishment in virtue, ethics, sila sampada. Accomplishment in generosity. Accomplishment in wisdom. For today, I will emphasize on the second one, accomplishment in virtue or ethics. The Pali being sila sampada. Now, what is this accomplishment in virtue and ethics? And I emphasize the Pali word sila sampada. So just to get to know a little bit of Pali. Now, sometimes when you read translations, and the Buddha didn't speak English, didn't speak Chinese, he didn't speak Tamil, he's from northern portion of India. There are many languages even today in India, but he spoke what they call colloquial languages. The Buddha did not speak Sanskrit. Okay, he refused to speak Sanskrit because Sanskrit was only taught to the Brahmin caste. And in those days, there were 4 castes. He himself from the warrior caste, the Kaisriya caste. So if you speak Sanskrit, many people don't understand. So what he will do, he will speak the colloquial language. He will go to the market, people buy vegetables, sell this and that in the market. He will speak that language in that kampong. And he go to another kampong, he will speak. And the area in which the Buddha journeyed across northern India was so wide that very likely there were many Indian dialects from different kampong. Okay, so he had language issues. So, and what today we call the language of the Buddha, the language the Buddha used, is so many kinds of dialects that the scholars use the term Pali. Pali is technically not a language. It is just a convenient term to say language of the text. It means language used in the Buddhist text, which comprises all these dialects, campur together. And Pali grammar today has a way of joining words. Some Pali words are like very long, The Dhamma-inspired Sutta. Actually, pointing to that sutta was the first lecture given by the Buddha to the 5 ascetics. And it is actually made up of many words. So in this particular case, sila sampada is at least made up of 2 words, sila and sampada. Sila, probably many of you have heard before, and the portion I underline is, it is pointing to your behavior, your character. An important thing is moral practice, okay, whether you have good character or not, or some people use the term virtue. And sampada, attainment, success, accomplishment, or applied to the accomplishments of an individual in the course of his religious development. So that means sila sampada essentially means what are your accomplishments? How have you developed yourself with respect to your moral practice? That is what sila sampada means. And what is sila sampada? It's when a gentleman or a person doesn't kill living beings. Notice the Pali word I underlined, panatipata. And the bottom right of this poster, precepts. Just now we recited our commitment to practice the Panchasila, the 5 precepts. No? Panatipata, Veramani, Sikkhapadang, Samadhiyami. The word panatipata is to do with killing of living creatures. Doesn't steal, adinadana. Doesn't commit sexual misconduct, kamisu micha. Doesn't lie, doesn't tell falsehood, musavada. Doesn't consume alcoholic drinks that cause negligence. Okay? Sura, mirya, majja, pamadatana. That is one long word, all joined together, but actually made up of different things. Not only alcoholic drinks, it includes drugs and so on. And the key word in all that Pali is pamada, which means negligence, heedlessness. It means you are not aware. You drink a lot of beer, you'll be a bit mabok, you're a bit loose, you're not in control of your faculties anymore. Pamada, there's no mindfulness, there's no awareness, and so on. Things that cause your mind to be a bit crazy. So this is called the accomplishment ethics. Now, the following pages here, I will draw on other lectures given by the Buddha who elaborate on these 5 things. How you want to practice, how you want to approach it, what do you mean by that? Doesn't kill. That's all, man. So simple, man. But the Buddha further elaborates in other lectures. Now, this particular lecture is quite interesting. Veluda Varya Sutta, the people of the bamboo gate. Velu, V-E-L-U, means bamboo. So if you go to a monastery called Velurama in India for pilgrimage, it is the bamboo grove. And the entrance to the bamboo grove is, there's a big arch there made of bamboo. Today, you can actually go there and see. This is where the Buddha actually went. Now, noble disciple reflects, I want to live and don't want to die. I want to be happy and recoil from pain. Since this is so, if someone were to take my life, I wouldn't like that. Now, for the rest of us, hey, this is common sense, ma. We don't want people to kill us, ma. Then the Buddha continues, but others also want to live and don't want to die. They want to be happy and recoil from pain. So if I were to take the life of someone else, they wouldn't like it either. So another commonsensical aspect. But the Buddha here is actually highlighting that aspect and reminding us. The thing that is disliked by me is also disliked by others. Since I dislike this thing, how can I inflict it on someone else? This is the important question we have to answer. Reflecting this way, they give up killing living creatures themselves. They encourage others to give up killing living creatures. And number 3, praising the giving up of killing living creatures. So this bodily behavior is purified in 3 points. So with respect to each one of the 5 precepts, we should reflect on this aspect, and then we give up that, not so wholesome act. In this case, we give up killing. But we don't stop there. Not just we give up, we encourage others to practice that particular precept. In this case, to give up killing living creatures. And if someone who doesn't kill living beings, this person or you praise another person for giving up the killing of living creatures. So in this way, your actions are purified in these 3 points. This is very important in how you practice the 5 precepts with respect to this particular lecture. And then the Buddha continues. Similarly, if someone were to steal from me, I wouldn't like that. But if I were to steal from somebody else, they wouldn't like it either. The thing that is disliked by me is also disliked by others. Since I dislike this thing, how can I inflict it on someone else? So reflecting in this way, they give up stealing themselves, they encourage others to give up stealing, praising the giving up of stealing. So their bodily behavior is purified in 3 points. Now, by now, my reading through the sutta, you will come across certain important take-homes, which I like to draw your attention to. One is, Buddhism is not a way of life. I won't call it a religion actually, because religion means submission to a supreme deity. The Buddha is not a deity. The Buddha was a human being. He became enlightened, he became a good teacher, and he taught us. Why? To be able to take care of ourselves here and hereafter. And not just hereafter, but beyond hereafter. That means to become enlightened. And you look through the suttas, everything is about teaching us to think for ourselves, highlighting certain points, certain good points that we can train ourselves, develop ourselves to be better and better and better from where we are right now. We might be quite okay already, but now we can bring up to a higher level in terms of, in this case, in terms of moral practice. So that is some of the aspect we are talking about. So it is about teaching you how to take care of yourself better, and of course encourage those around you to take care of themselves better. But important thing is, it is action oriented. It's not pray. Notice nothing here about praying, So Buddhists do not pray. Buddhists take action to take care of themselves and those around them, to share whatever they know so that everybody is happy. Okay? So emphasis is not on pray, but on practice, taking action. And this sutta and earlier sutta is about taking action, if you want to take care of here and now or hereafter. And it continues. If someone were to have sexual relationships with my wives, why plural? Because in those days they had polygamy. I wouldn't like it. But if I would have sexual relationship with someone else's wives, he wouldn't like it either. The thing that is disliked by me is also disliked by others. Since I dislike this thing, how can I inflict it on others? And reflecting in this way, they give up sexual misconduct themselves. They encourage others to give up sexual misconduct. Praising the giving up of sexual misconduct, so their bodily behavior is purified in 3 points. Now, another area I'd like to emphasize is the aspect of reflection. Notice the sentence. Reflecting in this way, the person does 1, 2, and 3. There's a lot of reflection. Reflection of what I should do, what happens to me, what about the other person next to me, and so on. So by doing that, you are able to use your gray matter, or use your intellect, use your common sense, use your life's experience. We are not babies. We have gone through life. We have various kinds of experiences. We can use that, what we learn from our experience in life, to do certain things. So reflection helps to let the message and the teaching sink in and get us to be able to understanding. And understanding is very, very important in Buddhism. It's not a matter of, Buddha says, so I must do. No, the Buddha doesn't want that. The Buddha says, in fact, in another sutta, the Buddha says, don't believe me. I might be your teacher, but don't believe me. Please reflect, think for yourself, whether it makes sense or not, common sense or not, what are the implications to you, what are the implications to those around you, and so on. So the Buddha emphasizes the creation of understanding. So when you offer flowers, you must understand why, which be reflected in the puja. The offering flowers has certain significance. The significance is very important. We are not praying to a god. This is not a god. This is a great teacher. We are offering flowers, offering fruits, offering incense, with certain things in mind. And these are tools for reflection. Okay, reflection. And it continues. If someone were to distort my meaning by lying, I wouldn't like that. But if I were to distort someone else's meaning by lying, they wouldn't like it either. The thing that is disliked by me is also disliked by someone else, and so on. And then, reflecting in this way, they give up lying themselves. They encourage others to give up lying, praising the giving up of lying. And so their verbal behavior is purified in 3 points. Now, that sutta didn't talk about liquor and drugs and so on. But in the sutta called the Sigalo Vada Sutta, a layman's code of discipline, the Buddha talks about 6 drains of wealth that affect you. So there are these 6 drawbacks of habitually drinking alcohol. And if you want to expand the translation, including drugs and so on, whether you inject yourself, take as a pill or smoke or whatever, that make you a bit non-aware, heedless, mabuk a little bit. And certain things will happen. Immediate loss of wealth, if you drink a lot. Promotion of quarrels, people die in these kind of quarrels. Susceptibility to illness, well, too much alcohol, your liver will be affected. Any doctor here, or you have heard of cases. Disrepute, well, your reputation is not so good. Indecent exposure, because you're not aware of what's going on, anything can happen. Weakened wisdom is the 6th thing. So these are the 6 drawbacks of habitually breaking the 5th precept. or drinking alcohol and taking substances that causes heedlessness. Okay, Abhisanda Sutta rewards. Well, the Buddha talks about these 5 things which are original, long-standing, traditional, ancient, unadulterated from the beginning. They are not open to suspicion, will never be open to suspicion, and are unfaulted by knowledgeable contemplatives and priests. And what are these 5? Well, there is a case where a disciple of the noble ones, abandoning the taking of life, abstains from taking life. In doing so, he gives freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to limitless numbers of beings. He gives. That means if you practice even the first precept, in this case, abandoning or abstaining from taking life or killing other living beings, you are giving that living being freedom from danger. Now, in giving freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, freedom from oppression to limitless beings, he gains a share in limitless freedom from danger, freedom from animosity, and freedom from oppression. This is the first gift, original, long-standing, and ... means the sutta goes through the other balanced 4 precepts. They elaborate on this and using the same. So you are telling people that you are harmless, I will not hurt you, I will not steal your barang, I will not commit sexual misconduct, I will not rape you, I will not lie to you, and so on. And by doing that, by you practicing and offering that aspect of harmlessness to other living beings, you also get that freedom from such dangers. Okay, you gain that share because you are habitually thinking in that sense, I will not hurt you, I'm very compassionate to you, and all that. So by reverse, you will get that long term. In a way, this is an aspect of practicing loving kindness also and compassion to other living beings. In this particular sutta, Ambabalatika Rahulovada Sutta, this is a lecture given by the Buddha to his 7-year-old son. His son, around 7 years old, had renounced the world. That means shaved the head, donned the robes of a monk. And the Buddha was advising him. Now notice that while I give the name of the sutta, I also have a coding number on the side or at the bottom. In this case, MN61. This is from Majjhima Nikaya, Sutta number 61. The sutta name could be very long, but if you type in MN61 with the word sutta in your favorite search engine on your mobile phone or your notebook, the whole sutta in English, Pali, Chinese, or whichever will come out. Okay, you can read it for yourself. So the sutta continues. What do you think, Rahula? What is a mirror for? For reflection, sir. So again, the aspect of reflection is coming up. So the Buddha emphasizes, in the same way, Rahula, bodily actions, verbal actions, and mental actions are to be done with repeated reflection. Think about it. But when do you think about it? And the sutta continues. Whenever you want to do a bodily action, when you want, means before you do, you are thinking of doing it. When you want to do, you should check it out first. You should reflect on it. This bodily action I want to do, would it lead to self-affliction? That means will it hurt myself? Will it lead to the affliction of others? Will the action hurt other people? Or hurt both of us, yourself and other people? Would it be an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful results? If on reflection you know that it would lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both, it would be an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful results. Then any bodily action of that sort is absolutely unfit for you to do. So this one is the Buddha using commonsensical things that you can think for yourself. Before you do, you vet it through the list of questions. And then if it hurts yourself, others, or both, then you should stop doing it or don't do it. Now, if on reflection you know that it would not cause affliction, it would be a skillful bodily action with pleasant consequences and pleasant results, then any bodily action that of that sort is fit for you to do. Now here, I keep on using the word reflection. The Pali word, pacha vekita, having reflected, having considered, having reviewed, having contemplated. So these are a range of English translations for this Pali word. Okay. Now, while you're doing, so the earlier iteration was before you do an action, you're thinking of doing something, before you do, you check it out first. Now, if it's no good, then I don't even start doing it. But if it's okay, then proceed. In this case, while you are doing a bodily action, you should reflect on it. And this bodily action that I'm doing, is it leading to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both? Is it an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences, painful results? So you go through the same iteration to reflect and consider while you're doing it. If on reflection, you know that it is leading to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both, you should give it up. That means you should stop doing even that you are started doing already. But if on reflection you know that it is not, you may continue with it. Now, having done a bodily action, you should reflect. So earlier was, before you do, the idea of doing that action came up, you consider. While you're doing it, you also consider. Now, you have finished doing that action, you also counter-check. So having done a bodily action, you should reflect on it. This bodily action I have done, did it lead to self-affliction, to the affliction of others, or to both? Was it an unskillful bodily action? Now, let me stop here slightly for a short while. Notice the Buddha didn't use the term good actions and bad actions. The Buddha uses the word skillful and unskillful actions. We do a lot of silly things, stupid things in our life. Why? We are not skillful. We have not trained ourselves well. So we do stupid things. Or the Buddha uses the term skillful or unskillful actions. There's no such thing as good or bad actions. Okay? So skillful, unskillful. So was it an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences and painful results? If on reflection you know that it led to self-affliction and so on, it was an unskillful bodily action with painful consequences and painful results. Then you should confess it, reveal it, lay it open to the teacher or to a knowledgeable companion in the holy life. Now, why is this? Now, this may not apply to us, but depending on your approach to practice. Note that Rahula, although 7 years old, he was a young monastic. He was a novice. Novice under Buddhist training, Buddhist monastic training is such that when you break a training rule, when you didn't do it so well, you broke it, then their job is not to keep quiet and conceal and cover up. They confess it, reveal it to their teacher. Each person who is ordained has a teacher, okay? And if the teacher is not around, not physically around at that time, maybe you will confess to the knowledgeable companion in the holy life. And when do monastics do this? Twice a month, opportunity availed. This is called Uposatha, or for the rest of us who are not familiar with what is Uposatha, full moon and new moon days. When the monastics are in a designated location, they will come together, they will recite. Like just now, in our puja, we recited or reminded ourselves of the 5 precepts, the Pancha Sila. The monastics will come together and recite the 227 precepts that they are observing. Okay, they will chant, and during that what they call event, new moon and full moon days, they will have opportunity to confess to their teacher if he's there, or to their fellow monastic. Okay, they don't hide it. So having confessed it, you should exercise restraint in the future. So the purpose of confessing is to reveal it, so that you are not trying to bluff people, I mean lie to people by not confessing. Number 2, you are telling people, I'm sorry, I lapsed of concentration on mindfulness, I made that mistake, I will try my best to follow that precept next time. So, because as a monastic, it is an institution of training and training and training themselves to become better and better and better. Okay? So training will involve failures and successes. So initially, failures rate may be very high. You confess and you try again to observe that particular precept and so on. So if on reflection, you know that it did not lead to affliction. It was a skillful bodily action with pleasant consequences, pleasant results. Then you should stay mentally refreshed and joyful, training day and night in skillful mental qualities. Now, that was the earlier portion about bodily action. Remember, at the beginning of this Ambabalatika Rahulo Vada Sutta, the Buddha talked about reflection on bodily action, in this case, before, during, and after, but reflection on verbal action, which is the next one. Whenever you want to do a verbal action, you should reflect on it. And I put ... The same process also covers. While you are doing a verbal action, you should reflect on it. Having done a verbal action, that means having said certain thing, you should also reflect on it. And after this, you talk about not just verbal action, mental actions. That means the thoughts that arise. But for most of us, censoring our thoughts, reviewing our thoughts, a bit difficult. So you start simple first. Your bodily action, and maybe a little bit more difficult is your speech, your verbal action. You can do those two, very good already. Then, of course, then you can graduate to the mental action aspect of this practice. And the Buddha was teaching his 7-year-old son. So your life has come to an end now. You are setting forth into the presence of Yama, the king of death. No resting place is there for you on the way. Yet you have made no provision for the journey. This is Dhammapada verse 237. Now, what is this provision for the journey? I will allude to that later. Now, make an island unto yourself. Strive hard and become wise. Rid of impurities and cleanse of stain. You shall not come again to birth and decay. Dhammapada verse 238. Now, here, the bottom right, verse 238 talks of a person who has uprooted the defilements, and after passing away, he will not be reborn again. So he has ended birth. But for the rest of us who have not uprooted our defilements, what happens? We have to worry about what provisions we have made for the journey in the cycle of birth and death. Now, this particular sutta, the Chula Kamma Vibhanga, made up of 3 words. Chula means shorter or lesser. Kamma means action. Vibhanga means analysis. The shorter analysis of actions. This is the meaning of the sutta name. So, Chula Vibhanga Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya Sutta number 135. Again, this was a conversation involving a lay person talking to the Buddha. So, as he was sitting there, this person said to the Blessed One, or the Buddha, Master Gotama, notice, rarely do you come in the suttas, anybody calling the Buddha, 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 what is this? No, they always say Master Gotama or ascetic Gotama. They know him as Samana Gotama. Okay, so Master Gotama, what is the reason? What is the cause? Why baseness and excellence are seen among human beings, among the human race? Now, in a way, this question is very important. Why? Because if the Buddha was in front of us today, we will ask him that same question. Why is there inequality in the human race across? People you do not know. Some people are born blind. Some people are born, the guys are born tall, dark, and handsome. Got muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The other one, wow, the lady, wow, so petite, so thin, wow, so nice. But my body, oh, so fat, ugly, my genes inherited no good. Why like that? So not fair. And this was a question. And it's more profound. For short-lived and long-lived people are to be seen. So people with short lives and people with long lives. Sickly and healthy. Ugly and beautiful. Uninfluential and influential. Poor and rich. Low-born and high-born. there are stupid people and discerning people to be seen. So what is the reason? What is the cause? So this is a very important question for most of us. I will not go through the whole sutta. I will cover the aspect, the first line. For short-lived and long-lived people are to be seen. The consequence, in other words, this sutta is all called the shorter analysis of your actions. When you do, what you do has consequences. It affects the later portion of this life or in future lives, which is the hereafter, in a way, and explains your current position. The brief answer the Buddha gave: students, beings are owners of their karma. Karma, although an Indian word used by the Buddha, here karma means action. Beings are owners of their actions. Heir to actions. What is heir? H-E-I-R. It means you inherit your actions, your inheritance. You made your own inheritance. Not somebody passed to you inheritance, not your father, mother passed to you inheritance, but your actions. You inherit what you do. Born of your actions. So your actions now affect your future birth. Your earlier actions affect how, what, and your circumstances of your birth now. Related through your actions. So who are your father, mother, your brothers, sisters, your relatives, and further afield, your friends, those who are around you. Okay? Have karma, have actions as their arbitrator. Actions or karma is what creates distinctions among beings in terms of coarseness, refinement. Okay? So actions. It's not what you believe, it's what you do. Detailed answer. And the right hand side, killing that yields short-lived humans. So the Blessed One said, this is the case, student, where a woman or man is a killer of living beings, brutal, bloody-handed, given to killing and slaying, showing no mercy to living beings. Now, by a person actively, repeatedly, habitually killing, through having adopted and carried out such actions. This is not occasional. This is a person who habitually does these kind of things. On the breakup of the body after death, this person reappears in the plane of deprivation, in a bad destination, in lower realms, even in hell. Now, this set of long, different description indicates there are planes of existence lower than the human plane. Now, the Buddha discovered underneath the Bodhi tree that there are 31 planes of existence. And don't think that human being is very high up. We are number 5 from the bottom. Plane of existence number 1 is called hell. A lot of suffering. All your dana, dedication, those dedication merits cannot reach those, help your relatives who are born in hell. There are those who are born as animals. Your dedication and merits cannot help the animals. You have heard, in Chinese culture, we have heard of such thing called hungry ghosts. Hungry ghosts, there is a plane of existence below us also. Okay? Your dedication and merits, whatever wholesome things you have done, maybe you can try to dedicate to them. Okay? And so on. So there are different planes of existence. And who, what they call, how come you can get there? And why am I a human? Because of your earlier actions. And your future depend on your earlier actions and your current actions. What? That means you determine your fate. Praying doesn't help. Now, if on the breakup of the body after death, instead of reappearing in the plane of deprivation, a bad destination, lower realms and hell, this person comes to the human state. When you do a lot of unwholesome actions, in this case, like example, breaking the 5 precepts, or in this case, the first precept, you make yourself qualified to be born down, lower than human realm. Some are mildly qualified, some are very, very, very qualified, because they habitually kill. But if for some reason this person is born as a human being, that means generally not qualified to be a human being, but he somehow is born as a human being, this person is short-lived wherever he born. Why? Those who are born in the lower realms, the characteristic of those beings have short lives there. So you carry the short life characteristic over to the human realm, even though you are born as a human. So this is the way leading to a short life, to be a killer of living beings, brutal, bloody-handed, given to killing and slaying, showing no mercy to living beings. Notice in suttas, the Buddha always tells you the negative, then the Buddha tells you the positive. This is the lecture style of the Buddha. Now, but then there is a case where a woman or a man, having abandoned the killing of living beings, abstains from killing living beings, dwells with the rod laid down, the knife laid down, scrupulous, merciful, and sympathetic for the welfare of all living beings. So this person is a good person. Now, through having adopted and carried out such actions on the breakup of the body after death, this person reappears in a good destination in the heavenly world. Okay, that means if you don't kill living beings, and not only that, merciful and sympathetic for the welfare of living beings, you are helping another living being. Injured somebody, you try to apply first aid, transport the person to a hospital. An animal is injured, you try to bring or to feed the animal and so on. The actions create certain energies that disqualify you from being born as a human. Why? You are so good a person, so wholesome a person, that you qualify to be born higher than the human realm. Okay? In a good destination, in the heavenly world. So those who want to go to heaven, you know the formula already lah. Okay? Now that is being born in planes existence higher than human. But some of us want to be born as a human again. So if on the breakup of the body after death, instead of reappearing in the good destination, in the heavenly world, he or she comes to the human state. So actually qualified for higher, but somehow born as a human. So this person is long-lived wherever reborn. Why? The person carries the characteristic of heavenly births or deva births, and the characteristic of a higher plane existence is long life. Those beings there. So when you born in a slightly lower, in this case in the human realm, you have the characteristic also long life. So this is the way leading to a long life, to have abandoned the killing of living beings, to abstain from killing living beings, to dwell with one's rod laid down, one's knife laid down, scrupulous, merciful, and sympathetic for the welfare of all living beings. The picture on the right shows twin sisters who live right through an old age, very long life. Now, the sutta continues, which I will not go through. It talks about health. Those who are sick, those who are healthy. It talks about certain actions that promote a sickly life. That means you are born, you have what we conventionally say, you are born with a poor constitution, always sick one, always must go and see doctor for this problem, that problem. But some people never catch cold one, not as sick in a day in their lives. How come? Read the sutta. Okay, this particular sutta is going beyond. Remember, we started off with the Didika Jano Sutta. We talk about things you can do to make your life here and now happy and comfortable, and the hereafter. And even in the hereafter, I talk primarily about sila, morality or virtue. This Sa Upadisesa Sutta talks about something left over. We are talking about going beyond hereafter, going towards enlightenment, and what the role of sila or moral training factors into those people who want to go towards enlightenment. Not just hereafter, I want to hopefully get a chance to go beyond the cycle of birth and death, okay, to be enlightened. And in Buddhism, the Buddha discovered that there are different stages of enlightenment. Some people are so good in their practice and their wisdom that they express class. Immediately hearing the Buddha's teaching, understanding, immediately there and then standing, becomes enlightened. But many of us, after hearing, oh, this teacher teach, that teacher teach, that teacher, we go for retreat here, retreat there, still not yet enlightened. So different people got different issues. But here, this particular sutta emphasizes the point of the importance of moral training if you're thinking of getting towards enlightenment. It already helps you, if you're doing very well, your moral training helps you in the hereafter, but it also is an important factor for enlightenment. Okay, never mind, I go beyond this. Now, this table is quite interesting. Notice the top line, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths, the fourth Noble Truth, has the way to end suffering or end dukkha, end what they call the cycle of birth and death for yourself. And so the Noble Eightfold Path can be rearranged to become Sila, which is virtue and moral training. Samadhi means training your mind to be more concentrated, not so monkey mind, jump here, jump there, be more steady, very calm, and so on. That's Samadhi. And Panya, wisdom. Wisdom is important because wisdom helps you to, through reflection and understanding, cut through all the silly ideas that you have, and then uproot the defilements. Okay, and with Sila, Samadhi, Panya, depending on your degree of practice and whether you have scored 100 points on Sila or 100 points in Samadhi or 100 points in Panya, then only you can become enlightened. Now, the rightmost portion of this table, Arya stage. The word Arya means noble one. It means a person who is enlightened. And I mentioned earlier, the Buddha said that there are different stages of enlightenment. And here the stages, the lower stage is called Sotapan, or some English translation is you have attained the first stage of enlightenment or stream winner. These are different terms used in different books. But basically Sotapan, the first level, the easiest level. Okay. The second stage of enlightenment is called the Sakadagami. Okay. And the third stage, Anagami. Some people equate Anagami with Pure Land. But Anagami is not enlightened yet, It's on the way. After Anagami is full enlightenment, which means a person becomes an Arahat. Arahat means the worthy one, the noble one. Okay, the fully enlightened disciple of the Buddha. So this particular sutta, Sa Upadesesa, translated as with something left over. What is that something left over? The defilements left over. The Buddha discovered there are these 10 defilements. If you uproot all 10, the Buddha is also an Arahat. The Buddha has uprooted all of his 10 defilements, and therefore he is also known as Arahat. He has nothing left over to do. So all his disciples who have listened to his instruction, practiced accordingly, and became Arahats, they also have nothing left over. But this sutta is about those people who have practiced but have something left over, some defilements, some fetters left over. That means they still got work to do to become fully enlightened, to become Arahat. Now here I point, the arrow at the bottom of the table is pointing towards number 9. Now this table already shows 7, 8, and 9 are leading to Sotapan. That means there are different kinds of Sotapans. One type of Sakadagami, which is number 6, and there are 5 types of Anagamis. But never mind those higher level. We are still very kindergarten. So we say, can I reach number 9 or not? Enlightenment? Okay. And see under the various columns, Sila, Samadhi, Panya of the Noble Eightfold Path, which one must I completed the program? That means the training program. Sila must be fulfilled. So you cannot say, 50% never mind. You say never mind, but you don't qualify. So you're no more number 9. So as far as teacher marking is concerned, you must have perfect Sila fulfilled. So even your Samadhi and Panya is limited, you still get a chance to become a Sotapan. And why are we so kanchong about Sotapan? Because Okay, the paragraph here says, with the ending of the 3 fetters. Out of the 10, you uproot 3 defilements or 3 fetters. Certain thing happen to you. You transform yourself to from an ordinary, being, a putujana, to an Arya. You, Sotapan, even though you are not fully enlightened yet, you are still classified as a noble person because you have managed to uproot 3 out of 10. So you uproot 3, what happens? They have at most 7 more rebirths. So if they are very slow in their in their practice to gain enlightenment, to become arahat, to uproot all 10, if you are very slow to reach uprooting all 10, maximum more rebirths is 7. 7 in the course of the samsara is peanuts. Why? Samsara has been around before the birth of this universe. So you can just imagine how many rebirths we ourselves have undergone. Okay? In other suttas, the Buddha had, underneath, the Buddha recollected underneath the Bodhi tree that he was trying to find the beginning, what they call the origins. When you talk to other people from other religions, what does your religion teach about origins? Well, in many suttas, the Buddha referred to his quest to find the origin. Where is the beginning? It's not beginning of life, Where did I come from? Where was my beginning? He went, what they call 10 rebirths, previous rebirths, thousands rebirths, 10,000. And then he went so far back that he went to when he saw that this universe was contracting, he saw that this universe was expanding. He has seen other earlier universes, they were both contracting and expanding. So you're wondering, what am I talking about? The Buddha, during 2,600 years ago, there were no telescopes in the world capable of looking beyond the moon. Even the first telescope by Galileo Galilei, that is Western science record, is that small telescope can see moon, can see craters on the moon. That's about all. But so what the Buddha said at that time, nobody understood what the Buddha was saying. Only in 1930, this is modern era now, 1930, a group of astronomers in the US, many groups, headed by Professor Hubble, remember the Hubble telescope? Professor Hubble, using the most powerful telescope on Earth at that time, looked out and he took photographs of the cosmos. Most people, we look at the photograph, oh, many stars. Professor Hubble will say, that photographs he took were not of the stars. He was able to capture the dots there are galaxies. There are many, many, many galaxies. We are only in one, which we call ourselves Milky Way galaxy. But the photograph he took was thousands and thousands of. And then over time, he took different photographs of the same sky. Then he found out, hey, how come last time I took the position of this galaxy was here. Now, after a few months, I took, shifted. Then he found out that the galaxies are moving. Okay, he found out and where are they moving? They are moving away from each other. Then they came the idea that galaxies moving away means this universe is currently expanding. Our astronomers today have not seen a contracting universe yet. Okay? The Buddha was talking about it 2,600 years ago. Not 1930, Okay? So Buddha was already talking. And he go beyond that some more. Don't talk about this universe. He talk about other universes which are expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting, like accordion. Which means time is unlimited. You can go back in time. We are very, 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 very old in this cycle of birth and death. We've been born, die. Sometimes as humans, sometimes in hell, because we did silly things. Sometimes we are born in the heavens. We did good things. But since we don't know, you simply do things, then we come down. So we have been up and down the cycle of birth and death ad infinitum. So when the Buddha says, when you break through the first 3 defilements out of 10, you have at most 7 more rebirths. This is called kacang putih lah. Compared to the millions and billions of births we have undergone, 7 more. Kautim, we can become arahat already. So they will be reborn or transmigrate at most 7 times among the gods and humans, and then make an end to suffering. This is the 9th. So the benefit of become Sotapan is, one thing about become an Arya, that means uprooted the first 3 defilements, you cannot go back to become an ordinary human being, a Putujana, and be born again for ad infinitum in the future. Cannot. One-way traffic. Once you uproot the first 3, you're Sotapan, you have maximum 7 if you are very slow. Those who are number 7, also Sotapan, now become Sotapan, but before I pass away, he become Arahat already. Within that same life. No more, no need, the 7 rebirth doesn't apply. Because within that same life, already become Arahat. Very, very fast. So the benefit is you get rid of all this suffering of existence. So for those, although we started off the morning session with advice for the here and now, we have advice for the hereafter by emphasizing on the moral aspect. But if you bring your moral training up to fulfillment, means perfect morality, you get a chance to become a Sotapan, which is a prerequisite lah. So in yet another sutta, from the Anguttara Nikaya, book of 5, sutta number 57, you are responsible. Not your fate. Fate means somebody wrote your history and you are supposed to follow the script. But the Buddha says he discovered that you make your heaven, you make your hell. So you are responsible. And the reflection is, I am the owner of my deeds. Okay, you cannot say I do something and you become responsible. Tai Chi the blame. Heir to my deeds. Why? You can be a trillionaire. Okay, whatever, however rich you have. But when you pass away, all that is left behind on earth. And probably your relatives, your family will divide depending on your will, if you have a will. So what you have? Only your deeds you have done now and the previous life, you carry over to the next life. Whether lower realm, as human again, or higher. You are back into a yo-yo of the 31-plane existence. Only your deeds carry you forward. Deeds are my womb. Your actions in the previous life and in this life, very importantly in this life, determine what you are born as. Born as a human, born in the higher worlds, born in the animal womb, or what? And also, my relative. Who will be your parents? Good parents, bad parents, and so on. Not just parents who are your brothers and sisters. Some brothers and sisters are very cooperative, so helpful to each other. Some are real stinko, give you a lot of problem. And some families are 50-50 lah. Some are very helpful, some of your brothers and sisters very helpful. Some are real stinko, steal your money, steal your this and all these kind of things. I'm sure a lot of people got a lot of complaints. Different families got different characteristics. My refuge. Your actions earlier and now determine your refuge. Refuge means, what is a refuge? When raining, if you have umbrella, we open our umbrella so that we won't get wet. That umbrella becomes a refuge. So in that sense, that refuge is what? It protects you from getting wet. That's called refuge. Or you don't have an umbrella, you run into a building. The building shields you from the hot sun, from the rain, and so on. So refuge is something that protects you, gives you temporarily, measure to keep you comfortable. In this case, refuge is talking about knowledge of how to lead a good life here and now, hereafter, or gain enlightenment. Refuge. So those who have been doing a lot of unskillful actions, they have little or no chance to come to a Buddhist center to learn Dhamma. Their own karma, their own early actions, block them. Circumstantial, they call it. Something happened to block them. I planned to go to Bandar Utama to listen to the talk, but my boss say, overtime today, must work. So, no chance. All kinds of stupid things that happen that block you. Okay, my refuge. Or the other extreme is called, because you have good connections, your friends, you didn't know there is a Dhamma talk in Bandar Utama today. Your friends will tell you, hey, come, let's go. Oh, wow, then you come together. So, or they encourage you some more. Or go to the other center, that center, that center. So, refuge can be supportive, can be blocked, create a lot of roadblocks for you to learn something good to take care of yourself. Some people, that one you call it fate lah. But actually it's not fate, it's you did it to yourself. So in the end, I shall be the heir of whatever deeds or actions I do, whether good or bad. Now, you have looked through the various suttas I quoted, various slides. Now, in summary, in a way, from the Mangala Sutta, all the suttas talk about what you need to do to practice. You need to refrain, that means don't do. Certain things you need to do. Basically that. So what do you need to refrain from? Refrain from what is unwholesome or unskillful. Unskillful means things that hurt yourself and hurt other people, or both. Refrain, don't do those things. And be steadfast in good qualities. So you learn how to do good things and keep on doing it. That is making good actions. Then you make a lot of wholesome karmic energies that protect you here and now and the hereafter. Essentially, most of the suttas are like that. Okay? Now, one by one, little by little, moment by moment, a wise man should remove his own impurities as a smith removes his dross from silver. Dhammapada verse 239. Step by step. You cannot become perfect overnight. Everything takes step by step, moment by moment. But you have to start off by saying, you reflect, this is worthwhile doing because I want to take care of myself, my family, my friends. I can share the information, these kind of things. So I share, I do it. But sometimes I'm not perfect. I also make mistakes. I forgot to do, I was not mindful, not paying attention. So I make a mistake. But next time I will try my best again and practice and practice. In the end, practice makes perfect. So in the end, sometimes people are wondering, oh, this Dhamma talk so long, so many suttas. Probably by now you have forgotten what I said in the beginning. Okay, this is in a way the last slide. From Dhammapada verse 183, Sabba papasa akaranang kusalasa upasampada sacitta paridapanang etang buddhana sasanang. That we should avoid all evil. We should do good. Purify your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddhas. This Dhammapada is very important because for many of us, we want to remind ourselves, okay, so I listened to Dhamma talk, but I forgot what this speaker said in the beginning. So long, so many suttas, cannot remember. If anything, you forgot about earlier what I said, please remember this. Very, very important. Even for seasoned practitioners in the Dhamma, they try to remember this. Why? The whole essence of your practice is based on this principle, that we should avoid evil. What is this evil you're talking about? Unskillful actions. And what unskillful actions must I avoid? 5 precepts. Don't break the 5 precepts. Avoid killing, avoid stealing, avoid sexual misconduct, avoid lying, and avoid heedlessness. Okay, that's avoid evil at the base layman's level. If you are a monastic, you want to practice more precepts, then okay, then the avoid evil becomes longer list lah. But for us, 5 to go. Do good. Hey, where should I start? Simple. Opposite of the 5 precepts. A precept means don't do. What to do? The direct opposite. If you don't kill, you try to save living beings. Then they said, I'm not doctor lah. How do I know how to save people? Hey, You know, are you a blood donor? Are you an organ donor? Okay. Do you know first aid? Okay. Those simple things. You don't know? Learn. Okay. Some Buddhist centers have organized first aid training. Learn. CPR, Heimlich maneuver, and so many other things. So do good. And don't do it satu kali, do over and over again. And ultimately, purify your mind. It's all in the mind. The defilements are in the mind. So you have to work on your mind. From monkey mind, you need to calm it down so that there are less monkey mind. Okay, if you're able to make it zero monkey mind, very good for you. You're well on the way to practice. Okay, it's not doing for somebody, it's doing for you. And the benefits of this training for less and less monkey mind helps a lot. Why? Let me give you one, I call it in a way, stupid example. Many of us have been guilty of driving, now those who have cars, driving to a shopping complex, the bigger one, the worse it gets. Why? You don't know where you park your car. So you go there, so you're mindful. Okay, I get off my car, I'm eager to go shopping or see a movie, so on in the cinema, and so on. Then halfway, you're walking with your family, your friends, shopping. Then a thought occurred to you. Hey, did I lock my car? You laugh because you have that personal experience. Okay? Did I lock my car? You're not sure. Then you're a bit kia already. So you decide, I better go back to my car and check. They disrupt your flow of your enjoyment in the shopping complex. You go back to the car. Oh, lock. Oh, actually not lock. Oh, lucky. Now I remember I locked. So purify your mind. The first step in purifying your mind is called, don't be monkey mind. Get out of your car. Don't be so eager to go off. Do first things first. Get out of your car, take care of your car first. You lock, you stand there, you press your button or you use manual, whatever, however you lock your car, including Mr. Bean style, lock, padlock on the outside, also can. But remember, you don't forget. You lock and you're mindful, you're paying attention. For that split second, you don't take 5 minutes to lock your car. Just 1 second or 2 seconds, you are mindful that I am locking my car. The benefit, the characteristic of mindfulness, the more frequently you do it, the deeper, the stronger your mindfulness. Mindfulness improves memory. You will remember your actions. So when you go out shopping, and somebody asks you, hey, did you lock your car? Yes, I remember I locked my car. No problem. You have confidence. Why? You mindfully lock your car. That mindfulness becomes memory and you will remember. And you don't have to worry whether I locked my car or not. Okay? So that is the first step. But if you're monkey mind, your thoughts bring you away from now, you just close the door and walk off. You didn't lock your car. Then kena lah. Okay, then the worry happens and all that. Don't talk about people stealing your car. First things first, that you might worry that you didn't lock your car. So try to do that, mindfulness. When you get out of the car, stand there for 1 or 2 seconds, lock, press or key or padlock or whatever, however you lock your car, lock, then only you go off. That is the important thing. So many things in your life is about mindfulness. Okay, mindfulness helps. So that's the first step in purifying your mind. Mindfulness helps you to practice your avoid evil. You're aware of the need to practice, to observe the 5 precepts, of the need to do good. Mindfulness has a lot of applications. Don't talk about enlightenment. Talk about practical, everyday applications. Mindfulness is helpful. Once you have the very strong foundation in everyday mindfulness, you can bring it up to a higher level towards enlightenment. But you don't have the everyday mindfulness, you are scattered mind type of person. Then of course, your life is a big kalang kabut. You come home, you throw your car keys here, inside you want to go out, hey, where are my car keys? That kind of problem come out. No system. Or those people who are 4-eye like me, you have a habit of putting up in your head. Let's say, where are my spectacles? Then you leave it to your relatives to tell, hey, on your head. No mindfulness. So, Saddhammo cirang titatu. May the good doctrine long endure. Sabbe satta sukhi hontu. May all beings be happy.